Let's do it. Ya lai lai bim bim bum, ya la lai lai bim bum, ya lai lai bim bim bum, ya la lai lai bim bum, ai ai la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai bim bum, ya lai la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai bim bum, ya lai lai bim bim bum, ya la lai lai bim bum, ya lai lai bim bim bum, ya la lai lai bim bum, ai ai la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai bim bum, ya lai la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai. Your turn. Ya lai lai bim bim bum, ya la lai lai. Very good. Ya lai lai bim bim bum, ya la lai lai bim bum, ai ai la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai bim bum, ai ai la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai bim.
Shabbat Shalom. First, I want to say Mazel Tov to Brandy and becoming one of the tribe. My name is Leslie Berger. I'm co-president of the temple with David Youngman. If you didn't make your reservation for Slicho tomorrow night, you can still come. You just may have to wait for desserts. Please RSVP for sandwiches for Tashlik by today. If you don't do it in time, again, you can come, but you have to bring your own lunch. You can still send high holiday greetings. It's $36 for you get all 4 services, and your name will be up in lights. And we need it by Tuesday the 20th. You could do it online, or you can call the office and leave a message. You could also sponsor flowers in the Onig for Erev Rosh Hashanah. And also, you have to send in your list of family members for the Yisker book by the 21st. Also, you can fill it online or mail it in or email it. You may have received your high holiday tickets. I got mine today, but they were just mailed a couple days ago. If you haven't received it by Monday, please call Scott Swern. I'd like to thank all the board members who have helped out this past week to make sure the temple is still running. And I'm supposed to tell you about the emergency exits. It's over there, and over there. Just be prepared. Thank you to Rabbi Mark and Cantor Stacey, and of course to Dr. Ray for leading the services and the wonderful music that we always get. Thanks to the ushers Victoria and Harry Jacobs. Thanks to our tech team, Phil Carey and David Youngman. And the flowers on the beam in front of the bima are sponsored by Jeff and Wilma Shear in honor of their 30th anniversary. And hope to see all of you tomorrow night. And high holidays are coming. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Yep, the high holidays will be here very soon. We'll begin the Yamim Noraim with a Slichot service tomorrow night for those who are able to be with us here. For those of you joining us at home on our YouTube channel, and I'm grateful to Phil Carey and David Youngman and Chris Jastrock for their streaming, you'll want to take this opportunity to set aside perhaps some challah, a little bit of candles, an opportunity to share in your favorite Shabbat beverage so that we might share together in our Kiddush and Motzi as part of our service. One moment while we address some technical issues here. That's because I'm having to interface with Windows stuff. Yeah, I know. When all else fails, just go right to the source.
6 years of graduate school.
Yeah, 6 years of graduate school. Anyway, as I was saying, for those of you at home, please feel free to join us with our motzi and candles. Set aside a little bit of your favorite beverage so that we might share in that together. We have Shabbat greetings from Sergio Sanchez-Gutzman, Rita and Bob Rubin, and the Mignella family. Thank you all so very much for your continued support. I wish to acknowledge that Rita is a member of our board and here with us this evening. Rita, good to see you and Sue with us. And Sergio is here as well. Thank you, Sergio, for your continued support. And again, our Life Flowers were sponsored by the Shears in honor of their anniversary. So we're having some work done at home, and I had to take down our hummingbird feeders. And the hummingbirds were obviously very upset with me. I was sitting outside the other day in the evening, and they were flying all around looking for their feeders. I put them back up today, and this afternoon, as I was standing out there, several of them flew by, and what I would like to think, maybe more projection, but with a little expression of thank you, as they weren't dive bombing me as they usually do when we're out there, because, you know, these are very territorial birds, which are very bizarre because, you know, they're only this big, and it's like, you know, squish them if you can catch them. And so I would like to project that the hummingbird was expressing gratitude that the feeders were back up again, because it was flitting between a number of them to make sure that, that the food was of their normal quality. What can I say? The sugar was on sale, but they seemed to enjoy it anyway. Okay. Okay. Good, so I can go back to that slide. All right, so we have a correction in our announcements. Our flowers tonight are sponsored by Brandy String. Sorry about the confusion, Brandy. We greatly appreciate how you have beautified our bima. Thank you very much. And also beautified our congregation. We're grateful to have you with us. May the rest and quiet of this hour of worship refresh our inner lives and renew in us the sense of holiness. Fill our hearts with Shabbat peace and serenity, that we may hear the voice of our innermost soul and be moved to build our lives on the abiding foundations of all that is holy. That is what Shabbat must be for us. Not to tear the world apart, not to wrestle with time, but to let warmth and care and light come from deep within ourselves. We welcome this Shabbat with the singing of Shalom Aleichem, our opportunity to acknowledge the various messengers, both the spiritual, the physical, that have journeyed with us this past week. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Hayon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Borechem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hayon, Mi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hayon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei HaKadosh
in honor of much that has happened in Brandy's life this past week, it is my pleasure to invite her to join us here on the Bima to lead us in the reading and the blessing over our Shabbat candles.
Thank you.
So you'll read that in English.
Okay. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness and time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world.
We are going to light the candles. We'll just take the center and light the candles. And how's your transliteration? Here you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher kiddushanu, b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, source of all being, who calls us to holy acts through mitzvot, and inspires us to kindle these lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
May our prayers be spoken with sincerity and truth. May our prayers be uttered in humility, acknowledging our frailty and our need for sustaining strength. May our prayers be offered in gratitude for the blessings we've experienced, too numerous to be counted. May we firmly resolve to take the words of our prayers with us and permit them to guide our actions in the week ahead. May our prayers speak words of hope to the discouraged, cheer to the distressed, solace to the bereaved, and kindness to all. May our prayers reflect not only our own needs, but also the needs of others and the needs of our people. May our prayers challenge us to become all that we are capable of being. I invite us to rise as we are able for our Baruch Hu, our call to worship. We may be seated. Alone, I marvel at the evening sky. Gold caressing blue, blue caressing dark. Herein prayer as creative words once more form light and darkness. I think of the care in which the moon and the stars were made, the mixture that brings evening forth from day, morning from night, has been shaped like human from the earth. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Praise me, says God, and I will know that you love me. Curse me, says God, and I will know that you love me. Praise me or curse me, and I will know that you love me. Sing out my graces, says God. Raise your fist against me and criticize, says God. Sing your graces or criticize. Criticizing is also a kind of praise, says God. But if you sit fenced off in your apathy, says God, if you look at the stars and yawn, if you see suffering and do not cry out, if you do not praise, if you do not criticize, if you do nothing, then I created you in vain. I invite us to rise as we are able for the words of our Shema. Be seated.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might, and thou shalt words which I command thee on this day shall be in thy heart, shall be in thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by thy way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, that ye may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
According to Jewish tradition, the waters of the Sea of Reeds did not part for Israel until one single Israelite, Nachshon ben Aminadav is his full name, plunged headlong into the raging waters. We too stand at the shore of a vast sea. Like Nachshon, we too must take the first step. We must act so that God might make the waters part, bringing redemption to our people and freedom to all the peoples of the earth. Then shall we, like the children of Israel before us, sing together this song of freedom.
Yeah, bye bye bim bim bum, yeah bye 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 bim bum, yeah bye bye bim bim bum, yeah bye 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 bim bum, ay da 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 da, yeah da 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 bim bum, ay da 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 da, yeah da 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 bim bum, mi chamora, bali madonna, mi chamora, nedar bakodesh, no rati lord, oh sefel. No rati Lord, oh say fella, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 bim bum, ya la la bim bim bum, ya la 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 bim bum, ay la 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 la, ay la 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 bim bum, ay la 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 la, ya la 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 bim bum.
May the power of God this day enable me, the nakedness of God disarm me, the beauty of God silence me. May the justice of God give me voice, the integrity of God hold me. May the desire of God move me, and may the fear of God expose me to the truth. And may the breath of God give me abundant life.
ישמחו במלאכותיך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי. Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat Shabbat yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat Mekadeshei Shvi Shabbat Kulam Yismahu V'yitangu mituvecha Shabbat Yismechu V'malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Shabbat Yismechu V'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat v'hashvi ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat chendar yamimoto karata Shabbat yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat Shabbat yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat Zecher L'maseh v'reshit Shabbat Zecher L'maseh v'reshit Shabbat Yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat Shabbat Yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Thank you, Ray.
To call Shabbat an oneg, a joyous occasion, as the melody did. Thank you, Cantor. They say we are supposed to be in a palace. And so we bow and take certain steps as the prescribed supplication drops from our lips. But really, what do we know of castles and of royalty? My kitchen faucet constantly leaks. The kids' faces usually need cleaning. And if a door were to open to a palace, I would probably forget and carry in a load of groceries. No, the door we stand in front of when we begin the Amidah is the doorway to silence. And when we open it and step through that door, we arrive in our hearts. Mine's not a fancy palace, no jewels, no throne, certainly not fit for royalty. But in this small chamber, for just a few moments on Shabbat, God and I can roll up our sleeves, put some scotch on the table, sit down together, and finally talk. That's palace enough for me. I invite us to rise as we are able, as we continue with the words of our tefillah.
Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufia Gita Gilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, V'Elohe Avotenu V'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imaot, U'mevig Ula Livnei V'nechem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav L'Hoshia, Morid Atal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Givurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah L'Hachayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol, Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kedishim B'chol Yom Yachalelucha Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We may be seated. We're going to try a little responsive reading again, hopefully with the yellow text, if everything works correctly for us. There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to someone who cannot possibly be of service to us.
There is holiness when we promote family harmony.
There is holiness when we forget.
Yep, sorry, like I said. It's kind of like the little bouncing ball, you know, on the songs. There is holiness when we are willing to be laughed at for what we believe in.
There is holiness when we love truly, honestly, and selfishly.
Well done. To be a Jew means to wake up and to keep your eyes open to the many and beautiful and mysterious and holy things that happen all around us every day. Many of them are like little miracles when we wake up and we see the morning light, when we taste food with that first cup of coffee in the morning or tea and grow strong, when we learn from others and when we grow wise, when we hug the people we love and feel warm, when we help those around us and feel good. All these and more are there for us every single day. But first, we must open our eyes to see them.
Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim.
We offer our prayers for peace and wholeness to all who have experienced challenges to their very sense of wholeness, peace, and well-being. In a moment, our cantor will lead us in our Misha Berach, our prayers for hope, for healing, and for a return to shalom. And I will invite you in advance of that service, in advance of that prayer, to share aloud the name of a loved one who is in need of just such blessings and such encouragement. May all who are facing challenges to their health and their well-being be blessed on their journey, a journey that will bring them to a refuah shlema, a return to the wholeness they seek, the shalom that they desire, the health that they wish to return to. I invite you to share aloud the name of a loved one in need of this prayer. Baruch atah Adonai rofei hacholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us bring hope and healing to those who are in need. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. Abraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, uYivarech, uYirapeh et hacholim. Risheberat, Avoteinu, Abraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, uYivarech, uYirapeh et hacholim. Rena, Refana, Abraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, uYivarech, uYirapeh et hacholim.
I have in my hands 2 boxes which God gave me to hold. God said, put all of your sorrows in the silver box and all of your joys in the gold. I heeded God's words. And in the 2 boxes, both my joys and my sorrows I stored. But though the gold box became heavier each day, The silver one was as light as before. With curiosity, I opened the silver box. I wanted to find out why. And I saw in the base of the box a hole, which all my sorrows had fallen out by. I showed the hole to God, and I mused, I wonder where my sorrows could all be. God smiled a gentle smile and said, my child, they are all here with me. I asked God, why? Why God gave me the boxes? Why the gold and the silver with the hole? My child, the gold is for you to count your blessings, God said. The silver is for you to let go. We pause for a moment of silent meditation, or such other prayer as the heart may prompt. Thank you very much, Cantor, for the beautiful music. Dr. Ray, as always, thank you for the accompaniment on the clavinova, Phil Carey, David Youngman, and not Chris Jastrock, but rather Jacob Youngman. Sorry, I got locked into that same rhythm and pattern. But Jacob Youngman is here assisting, and thank you all so much for streaming our services to our YouTube audience. Thank you all for joining us from home. Thank you all for being here with us today. The year is indeed ticking down. Next Sunday, we will welcome a whole new year, 5,783. Of course, we know the world is much older than 5,783 years. But, it's so much easier to write 5783 than it is, 6 billion. All those circles we would have to put on the check. The checks would become forever long. And so 5783 works. It's convenient. It's a nice small number. And we're not going to pick on the rabbis for not fully understanding carbon dating and the age of the universe. It's not their fault. They didn't know about carbon dating. We're just grateful to have a nice, easy number to work with. It makes sense, at least from one standpoint. And then we begin, of course, as I'd mentioned before, these tumultuous Tishrei, our big 5 big holidays there. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, which has an 8th day, Shmini Atzeret, which also has Simchat Torah, all rolled into one. It's a hectic fall, but what's really wonderful about it is the timing. the temperature outside has already changed. And if we watch, we will be seeing birds migrating. I saw my first couple geese flying overhead just the other day. Change is in the air, and that's what makes our fall holidays, these holidays, so meaningful, I think, because change is all around us. And so it gives us the opportunity to do what these high holidays call for, which is some introspection and a little change, just a little bit. If we each change a little, if we each improve a little, then just think where we will end up next year. A little change now brings us to a different destination than what we have been on. Of course, the reality is that every week we have a Rosh Hashanah, every week we have a Yom Kippur, every week we have Sukkot, every week we have a little Hanukkah, we have a little Purim, we have a Bissela of Pesach, all rolled up every week, and it's in Shabbat. This is the big holiday of our calendar. This is the only holiday mentioned in the original top 10 list, the 10 Commandments. Sorry, David Letterman. And so it's there for us to take advantage of. And the neat thing is when we approach Shabbat with this idea that there's all of these holidays rolled up into it, we can actually take a little bit of time during the year instead of waiting for the big final exam, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's kind of like a midterm exam just to see how things are going, but we can do that every week and get a little bit of an idea about what that might be like. An opportunity for us to come to a new week. It is Rosh Hashavua, head of the week, in which we can look at the past week and maybe learn a little bit from our mistakes, maybe seek some apologies just for the past week, maybe express some gratitude. We've come to the end of a week. There's Sukkot for you. Passover, we don't have to work on Shabbat. It is a liberation day. It is a liberating holiday and a chance for us to just reflect on creation, on the world around us. Again, my hummingbirds reminded me, and I do this frequently as I have to refill their food. They are hungry little monsters, They eat me out of sugar. With all the sugar we've got to make for them to have food. And of course, the really neat things about hummingbirds are they're the only birds that can fly backwards. Although the ones that hang out around us are busy dive bombing all the others, trying to hoard. There's 3 of them, all right? I started with 1 and noticed them fighting, so I added another one, and they're still fighting, and I added a 3rd one, and they're still fighting. There's plenty of food for them. I keep trying to remind them of that, but they will fight over their little feeders there, and they are aggressive for such a little bird, for such a little tiny bird. But doing little things like that help draw me back into nature. I do love technology. I'm very happy I'm born in this century and not some century in the past where, we didn't have such things and I'd have to go out and draw water from the well or what have you. So I'm very comfortable living in the 22nd. What century are we in? We're still the 21st. I'm hoping for the 22nd. Enjoying living in the 21st century, but still, because of all this technology with which we have surrounded ourselves, I feel sometimes a big distance from nature, which is why I enjoy going camping with Deb and with Manti, and sometimes our children join us because, there it's you and the trees or the dust and the rocks and the mountains, what have you. But we can get a little bit of that just even in our homes, in our apartments, in our condominiums. Nature is all around us. And all we have to do is stop and look, and there's so much we can learn from nature. We don't have to go to Walden Pond. We can learn it right here, all around us. There's a natural rhythm to nature around us. And when we open up our hearts and our minds, we're able to feel a connection to that very rhythm. I do not think it is coincidence that Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are in the fall, and not some other random time where you don't notice the change as much. And so nature has a lot to teach us. The birds in their music, and yes, even in their fighting over sugar water. The birds that fly through the air, the sound of the wind through the trees. These are all things that we evolved hearing. These are all things that connected and rooted us. And we have separated ourselves from that to a large degree, and not necessarily to our advantage. The mind needs time to stop and time to reflect. And nature can teach us that. I envy my dog. And if there is such thing as reincarnation, I want to come back as Mandy in my home. She's well loved, well fed, and sleeps most of the day. What a tough life. But she gets so excited over the littlest of things. Dinner time is drool time for Mandy, and an exciting time. And of course, going for a walkie, well, let me tell you, this dog loves her walks. It's a simple thing, but she's so excited by it. And that excitement kindles excitement in me to actually want to go for a walk. And on my walk, I have found that Mandy's a real good listener. I can talk to her about all kinds of things. I can tell her everything. And she keeps secrets. Unlike my children, who when we go to the grocery store and I'd say, shh, don't tell Mom we bought chocolate. You know, the first thing out of their mouth is, Dad bought chocolate. So I can tell Mandy I bought chocolate and hid it in her dog food, and she's very happy. No, I don't feed her dog chocolate. We modern humans have become so used to Hollywood special effects that the simple miracle of a sunrise is something we just kind of gloss over. The changing of the leaves in the trees is something that we don't really pay attention to. The wind and the clouds and nature around us, we go through our day ignoring those very simple things. That's truly what I like about Shabbat. That's what I like about our Jewish holidays. They give me a chance to recognize the simple miracles, the miracles that greet us every day. And it helps break me out of my cynicism. It helps break me out of my routine. It gives me a little bit of Mandy's enthusiasm for the simple things. May we find ways to acknowledge those simple, everyday miracles that happen. May we find ways to instill a sense of gratitude in our hearts for this beautiful planet, for the stars. Oh, by the way, when you go out tonight and you look over that way in the east and you see a bright star, it's not a star, it's Jupiter. So when you go out, take a look. The bright thing over there is Jupiter. It's a planet, and we can see it. And you think about the sunlight that traveled all the way out to Jupiter to bounce back off of Jupiter to come back to us so we can see it. It is absolutely amazing. And so much of it is missed by us. Let us open our eyes on Shabbat. Let us open our hearts on Shabbat. Let us find a way to reconnect with all of these miracles. Shabbat Shalom. Seriously, Jupiter. I have a telescope, and the first time I saw Jupiter, I thought my mirror was cracked because there were a line of dots going right across the planet's equator, just in a straight line. And I'm going, oh my God, what? No, those were the moons of Jupiter shining their light back to me so that I could see them. It can be a great place. Let us move to the conclusion of our worship service. And what better way with the words of the Aleinu, which acknowledges the greatness of the Creator. It was truly beyond our praise, but nevertheless, we're going to do our best to do that. I invite us to rise as we are able, as we continue with the words of our Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shach l'adon hakol, latet gedula le'otzeh bereshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'arotzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu k'chel, v'kor aleinu k'chol ha'olam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei malach, malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, le'malach kol ha'aretz, hayom hahu, hayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad.
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, those who live on in our hearts and our memories, and in the place we call Olam Haba, the world to come. We call to mind those for whom we are observing the Shloshim, the 30 days since their death. Art Krieger, husband of Irene, Joel Lowenstein, husband of Devorah, and Mary Lewis, dear friend of Leslie Berger. And Leslie, Devorah, and Irene, our hearts go out to you in the immediacy of the deaths of these friends and family members. To their names, we link the names of those whose yahrzeits have occurred during this past week. Louis Levin, Katie Berman, Carl Raphael Kulka, David Granick, Saul Kritschmar, James Niemeyer, Gerda Lewin-Denwitt, Erna Nordheimer, Morton Bogarod, Fred Ender, Sidney Kritschmar, and Gloria Austin. And to those names, we link the names of those for whom we are observing the Kaddish period: Erica Cherie Barnes, Kaylee Goldstein, Craig Wilford, Fred Fink, Joyce Ulabari, Ralph Goldstein, Marvin Asnes, Norma Lippy, Claire Phillips, David Kaplan, Helene Lieberman, Laura Cutler, Marty Hershkowitz, Dottie Roth, Gerald Kramer, Mark Lightman, Stephen Z. Levoot, Harleen Brau, Tim Manriquez, Lenny Lightman, Lorraine Stein, Harry Fox, and Ed Ginter. If there's a loved one whom you are remembering, I invite you to share that name at this time. To those that we have named aloud and to those that we keep named in the quiet places of our hearts and memories, we link as well the names and memories of the men and women of our armed forces who have given their lives for our freedoms and our liberties, those who have given their lives for our safety here at home, members of our police, our firefighters and other first responders, and the members of the Israeli Defense Forces who have given their lives for the hope of peace. Zichronam levracha. May their memories be for a blessing as we share together the words of our Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemer rabbah. Be'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yahei Shemei Rabba Mevarach Leolam Ulalmei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal. Shemei dekudasha berichu. La'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May all of us who mourn and all of us who are bereaved, may we find through God's eternal presence a source of strength, courage, and hope, above all a source of shalom, of peace. And let us all say amen. I invite us to be seated as the cantor and I share together in our Kiddush. Juice and wine are a symbol of joy and happiness. We are joyous that we've come to the end of Shabbat. We are joyous that a new week lies ahead of us, an opportunity for us to learn more, to do more, to be more. And with the words of the Kaddish, we praise the holiness of this time and the opportunities and blessings contained therein.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hakofen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodesho v'ahava uv'ratzon inchilanu, zikaron lemaaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh, secher litziat Mitzrayim, kivanu taharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodeshecha be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. L'chaim, right? And with that, I invite us to rise as we are able for our concluding song, a prayer for our way. Tefillat Haderach. Put your arms around the shoulder of someone next to you if you're comfortable. Hold the hands of someone who might need to remain seated as we share together a blessing for our way.
May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find its way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen.
With words of our Motzi, we are grateful to God for all that exists that sustains us physically and nourishes us spiritually.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz
B'tei avon. Bon appetit. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you so much, Dr. Ray.